Raider Nation, stand up. Raider Nation, please stand up. The Cover 3D Raider podcast is here. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, along with Sean Oahu Raider and Monster Mash Ken. Gentlemen, how you doing today?
I'm excited to talk Raider football with you guys, man. I'm it's the best part of the week, man.
Your best part of the week does start right now. It
Yeah,
starts immediately.
this is our mini camp right here.
Yeah, this is this is the OTA version.
OTAs, yeah.
OTA version.
Podcast OTAs.
Mandatory mini camp.
Exactly.
And we don't have any energy vampires on here.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get that?
What is it? People are coming up with words now that are just driving me crazy. Energy vampire now.
Gruden's got some crazy diction up his sleeve. I don't know where he comes up with his stuff, but
it's all distraction from 19 and 29. That's all.
Yeah, right.
It's all distraction. It's all distraction. I want to thank everybody for listening in Sacramento, California, Hartford, Connecticut, and Miami, Florida, to the Cover 3D Raider podcast. 858-429-9465 is the text line. I do have a bunch of questions off of that too as well, some really good ones. The Raiders did sign a linebacker. We'll talk about that a little bit later, what ramifications that might have for Turner Muse and Javin White as well. So we'll talk about that real quick. But first of all, it's always something that stirs the Raider pot, if you will, of all the opinions out there about the Raiders and the Raider Nation. Kurt Warner, Super Bowl winner, went to 3 Super Bowls with the Rams, and then one with the Cardinals as well. He had a video kind of chop up of Derek Carr, his thoughts about Derek Carr, things he likes, things he didn't like. Everybody's kind of starting to show off with that. Let's just start off with that. I don't know if Ken or Sean wants to go first. I'll let you guys flip a coin or fist fight.
Go ahead, Sean. I'll bow out.
Whatever you want to do it.
No, I watched it twice. When I saw it hit the timeline on my Twitter feed, I was really interested. Number one, because Kurt Warner is probably one of my about top 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks to ever watch. I just enjoyed his story, what he came from, a grocery bagger, an arena football league guy. I mean, just completely made an amazing, spectacular career and played for franchises that were really bad and brought them to successful levels. So his career was really cool to watch. He was easy to root for. The best show on turf with the Rams, and what he did at Arizona, fighting hard there. So I thought how he critiqued Carr, I thought was important to me. I know that Kurt and Derek have a very strong, not bias, but bond because of their strong members of the Christian church. So I knew that going in, but I thought Kurt did a good job. I thought he kind of kept things practical. I think it's good to have constructive criticism, even when someone's having success. It's just important. And I thought that's exactly what he did. I don't think it was overblown either which way. I will say that Kurt needs to work on his editing skills and some of his, there were some like lags. At times it was a little painful. I was like, who's the production crew behind this? But, it just shows that Derek has highs and lows like any other player in this league. But they're important, and to hear a good player credential him that way and kind of say, hey, look, this is the story with Derek, leaving out the obvious things we already know: bad defense, interesting coaching decisions, revamping the roster continually, and bad draft picks. But just to look at it in that perspective, it was fair, and no big hot take about it. But I thought it was healthy than some of the other things we see from his brother or other people in the media.
No, I think that's right on. When Kurt Warner, one of the best to ever do it, I like him too, man. I mean, obviously growing up in Arizona and watching him play, then
That's right.
I think he was when the Raiders were when we made that nice run there. I think he was with St. Louis at the time. So me and my boss would go back, and I think Gannon had won the MVP. Well, first Warner won it, then I think Gannon won it. I don't know. It was great to watch him because we didn't know who was going to win the MVP that year, and Gannon ended up winning it. But anyway, I love Kurt Warner. Just a nice guy. I've met him a couple times. I actually met him at the draft and Nashville down there. Really, really good guy. But all that being said, when somebody you learn from being critiqued, you learn from somebody that knows that has done the game and won championships and,
Right.
and MVPs, you know, when they're not trying to bash him, because I don't think, you know, he ever would,
Mm-mm.
but when everything was valid and Derek knows what he's got to do. There are a lot of outs that he has, you know, whether the revolving door at wide receiver, you know, he builds chemistry with Crabtree and Nelly, and they're gone the next season or whatever. It sucks. It really does. Waller, thank God, this is what his third year with Carr now,
Mm-hmm.
so that helps. But the O line shift, Gruden's craziness and the play calling, the defense not helping out. There's or the running backs not working out, you know, all these different things. But yeah, I mean, the tape don't lie, as they say, you know, tape don't lie. And I know that each of us have our own frustrations with Derek, Raider Nation as well, you know, and it's always going to be a hot topic. And I know we're going to get into some of the things that Derek said, you know, in the camp, but I had no problem with it at all. I never do. But I one thing that you did say, Sean, that I do have a problem with is David Carr always sugarcoating, and that's your brother. I get it, but you know
Right.
what? Call it
Yeah.
like it is sometimes.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's absolutely. That's why I had to just bring that up,
Yeah,
that there's
yeah,
different drastic media points that play to the favor or they just want the
yeah,
clicks. That's what I was saying. Like what Kurt did, I thought was just an honest exploration of his career, you know, his game. You know. All right,
So
Dwayne. Tell
yes,
us, Dwayne. Tell us, Dwayne.
so I really I think everybody should be held accountable. So, you know, from the last man on the roster to Derek Carr. So if you want to go after it about Derek, that's fine. I totally get it. Like the play he showed against Atlanta, that rusher was not close enough to him for him to vacate the pocket. So you know, I totally get it. I just feel like in this season, I would say that this was one of his better seasons. He
yeah,
does. I think one of the things that I get frustrated with him is the fumbling part of it. You know, Josh Allen fumbles as well in Buffalo, but he has one less fumble than Derek. But they have a better team around them. But it's still, that's no excuse for Derek. Like I don't care what anybody else is doing, is what you're doing. So he needs. So I think those things have to be they have to be worked on. To me, I thought it was a fair look at it. I think that there's times where like you know it just to kind of say he is really conservative or chooses to check down. I think there's a lot of, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he had a lot of big plays down the field this year.
yep,
More than he's had. He's had more rushing yards for using his legs. He was one of the tops in yard per attempt. You can always look at yard per attempt to see how a quarterback's doing as far as that goes. You know, he had more 40-yard touchdown passes or 40-yard completions than Russell Wilson. More his numbers in you know as far as the 20-yard completions were very good opposed to past years. And he's working with a cast of characters on the wide receiver core who, you know, they don't compare to what they have in Seattle. They don't compare to what they have in other places. So I thought that was cool to listen to because I always want to hear what the Hall of Famer has to say about you know about the quarterback that we have. Didn't learn anything new as that goes for me, from my perspective. I just felt like it was more of a. I mean, one cut up he showed, you know, the next play is a touchdown pass. Like, you know, so I mean, you know, I don't know. I wasn't in love with it. I didn't take too much out of it. I just thought that it was just like, you know, he's going through the whole AFC West and all the quarterbacks. He's been in the trenches. He knows the position. I thought it was just okay. I didn't get any. Some people felt like they got some great things, or this is what I've been saying for years, stuff like that. I didn't get that. I didn't get that from the conversation. The thoughts was pretty fair, honest of what he thought Derek.
Right.
What Derek? I mean, like the house has always been on fire with the
mhm,
Raiders. So he's never had, he's never had the couch in the fireplace like Brady and Rogers and all that stuff like that. And he's not on that level anyway. But but he hasn't. So like, I mean,
Mm.
it's really just a tough situation to really evaluate because I mean, you can he's not above evaluation, not above being held accountable. I just feel like in this situation, it's just Gruden is good for Derek as far as offense and play calling, but there's three parts of football, and the draft is, and you can say it's four parts of football with the draft as well. And
Right.
as long as he's running a team, it's just gonna be a tough situation.
Yeah. Well, he's had a 7-year career, so he's about midway through an average quarterback career. He's had dysfunction around him, but at some point, I just think like it bad situation or not, this is why some teams just pull the trigger and move on anyways. It's not exactly because of the quarterback, the talent, the person they have. It's just someone comes in, someone wants a change, someone wants a culture refresh. We have 4 players on the roster since Gruden came in: Nicholas Morrow, Derek Carr, Carl Joseph, who just came back, and there's one more. I'm missing it, but so they've
Long
cleaned house.
snapper, I think. No?
It might be, but regardless, it's like, hey, it's there's bad circumstances. That's part of the game. But at some point, some part to me, it's like it's partly it's Gruden's fault, partly at times Derek Carr has to shoulder the blame. It's just how it works. But overall, in the grand scheme of things, he's down the list there. We know number one is entirely, completely, and unequivocally a porous continual bad defense for a decade. So you can't change that culture with a great quarterback. I do think great quarterbacks change winning cultures. We're just not there yet, and it's year 4. So is it Gruden? Is it this? Is it that? So whatever. And Kurt's opinion is one. It really means something, not much in the grand scheme of things. It's just what happens on the field on Sundays. And we've seen enough of Derek to know there's a handful of games where he looks like he's a top 10 guy. There's a handful of games where he looks like Kirk Cousins, Tannehill, that kind of quarterback, and then there's a smaller percentage of games where he doesn't look as good. So I grade him accordingly, but it's the off season. It's something to talk about, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to always look back. I mean, you have to look back at it. Like, I mean, like
you have to.
Yeah, they got to second year in a row. They got to a hot start and they finished poorly. So you have to look back on it and see and try to look at why it took place. And I think that's a big. I think it's a big part of it. Ken, any final thoughts on the video and the whole situation? Because you can fill an entire off season of shows with talking about Derek if you want.
They will.
I think most there's so many Raider podcasts out there, and it's always a subject we talk about it all the time. We should have our own 5-minute Derek Carr therapy session. But maybe it's a good segue to go into what he said during his conference. We haven't heard from him all summer, and he comes out and he says, I want to be a Raider. I'm going to be with the ship till it goes down, and I don't want to play for anybody else. I'll retire. And I know he's kind of mentioned that before. And all I thought about when he said that is, you look at all these other quarterbacks and they're always wanting to get out or whatever, or go on to the next big thing. And Derek has every right to want to leave, because what has the organization done for him? I mean, I don't know. They've missed on free agency. They've missed on draft picks. They've missed on coaching. They've missed on coordinators. They moved them, all this stuff. And I'm not defending them, because you still got a job to do and you're getting paid millions and millions to do it. And I don't think he's not a team player or anything. He is a captain. He wears that C on his chest for a reason. And I thought it was cool that he said that, and I like it, because I would hate if some quarterback was on our team that was holding out and not. It's a young team. If that leader's not there guiding these young players, then where does that put our team? It sets us back. He's not flashy. He's not the Ferrari or whatever. He's that.
No, not at all.
He's the Ford F-150. He's going to take a beating, and he's going to keep going and going, and he's getting better as we go. And we look at the 2016 season, and then last season, probably the two best seasons that he's had, where we were so close. And I don't think last season was on, maybe 1 or 2 games like we've mentioned, but I did like that he said that. And I believe it was Josh DeBow who asked him that question. And we all know that Josh does pick on the whole team,
Yeah.
So,
One of his better questions. One of his better. That was a great question by Judge. No, so
It was, and he said that.
We spend the entire offseason talking about Watson and
Yeah.
the disgruntledness of what's going on in Green Bay. Listen. I mean, him saying that. I think it was very calculating as well. He's not an idiot, Derek. He does want to play for the Raiders for the rest of his career, and I can wholly, for me, that's great. That's great. But I do think that, he's in I think this is the first year of no more guaranteed money. It's easier to move on from him now than it would be or will be then. Very, very, very friendly contract. If you did want to try to move him to, say, Green Bay or move him to somewhere else, or moving to the Texans or something like that for Deshaun Watson, who is, I don't know what's going on there. As far as him, it's been quiet. It's been quiet as a church mouse out there in Houston right now, as far as that goes. So it's to me, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for him with the Raiders. I think even if you did get him re-up the contract with him just to give more salary cap room, that probably might be a smart idea. You could still move him if you didn't want to keep him anymore. Doesn't mean just because you sign a new contract doesn't mean that he can stay there forever. Sean, what are your thoughts about that the statement of hey, I thought it was more of a calculation thing because I think Derek has made enough money where he could really do it because he almost quit before. Greg Olson is the one who told him to keep playing football. He came to, there was an interview where he talked about because of his relationship with God, he was going to leave the game sport of football.
Yeah, so that's why to me, I don't see much into it. I feel like since he came in as a rookie at a Fresno, he expressed that this was the franchise he wanted to play for. Okay. Then when they found out they were leaving Oakland, he said, I want nothing more than to win for Oakland. Then it's Las Vegas. I still want to be a part of this franchise. Then Gruden, the rumors, Tom Brady, every offseason. We know him. We've already talked about him. Yeah. So I told Vic Toffer when he tweeted that, I was like, this is the same thing he's been saying for years. I don't know why this is new publication. Yeah. It's not, it doesn't move me any which other way. Whatever. And I understand you say he doesn't have his couch with the fireplace, but in some regards, yeah, he's been there for 7 years. And he talked about how Gruden sends him videos of his fluffy dog. And I sent him pictures of my kid hitting a baseball. They're neighbors. He ain't going anywhere. He's got as comfortable situation as anyone. So of course he's going to say that. He's getting paid. He lives in a good marketable city where his money stretches far and his taxes are safe. What is he going to say? Why would he want to leave? Like he's in a situation where some people point the finger at times, but he's in a good, fair situation. So he's got like a Matthew Stafford type deal right now. I'll just sit around. I'll make a lot of money and keep getting re-upped. And it's not going to be on me. I play for a terrible franchise, just like the Lions for his entire tenure. So yeah. I don't read into it. And if Derek really wanted to go, I don't think that's in his personality because of his values and his faith and where he's at in his life. Whatever. It literally means nothing different to me because I know how much Gruden and Mayock love him. So whatever, it's different when Arden Key says we don't need Khalil Mack. It's different when, these other Raider play. It's different when we'll talk about this later, but when Yannick and Max Crosby were the best defensive rushing unit in the league. Like people talk. So yeah, Carr's conversation, to credit your word, Dwayne, calculated, but to me, it's been it's nothing new. You put a microphone in Derek Carr's face and ask him, he would answer that 10 out of 10 times, and he will probably midway through the season, whether they're doing great or bad, he'll say the same thing. So yeah, no surprise.
You mentioned Yannick and him tweeting out pictures of Howie Long. He's really trying to.
I've seen that.
He's really trying to kiss up to the Raiders right here as far as that goes. He talked about him, and I thought it was interesting to me. The most interesting part of that whole situation is he talked about himself and Max Crosby, not himself and Cleveland Farrell. I thought that that's what struck me about it. And I guess Salt and Pepper just got a new shaker. Like, what I'm saying? Like that's gone now, right?
I was thinking that. Lowry's seasoning just got sprinkled into this.
Smoked paprika and salt.
Adobo.
Adobo seasoning. Cajun and yeah.
So like,
Moving
as
on
far as,
from
I'll take this one. I'll
Yeah,
take
go
this one. So, yeah, I just, I listened to that interview twice, and thought that too, Dwayne. Like, okay, so what happens with Furl?
Mhm.
And I think what's going to happen here, maybe he's referring to because they're going to be the edge rushers and they're kind of moving Furl into the middle. Maybe that's kind of the way I took it.
Mm,
But I think if you look at the production that Crosby's had in his first 2 years, I think it's like 17 sacks or something like that, which is phenomenal. And then you look at what Yannick has, he's pretty productive. Granted that he's been bounced around in was 3 teams in the last couple of years or something like that. And he said he reflected on that and he wanted to change himself. And one thing that this team has been missing for such a long time is a leader. And the fact that he's putting on that hat with Crosby, who I felt is a leader in his own way too, at least that
especially on
defensive end.
defense.
Yeah. So
Need 'em.
that's what I'm saying, a leader on defense, and that's why I wanted Sherman so bad because I felt that we needed that leader, and I didn't know it was going to be Yannick, but I like it. You know what? Why not come into the league, onto a new team with a chip on your shoulder? Like, this is going to be my team. I'm taking over this shit because I can back it up. I have the resume to back it up. I have the sacks and the production. I have Khalil Mack numbers in a sense. I'm going to come in and I'm going to do that. What's the worst thing about our team? It's the pass rush. Who's the best player that's going to pass rush? It's going to be Yannick. So it works out for me. He can do whatever he wants as long as the production's there and he holds people accountable. He's going to push Furl. He's going to push him. I'm taking your spot. Maybe they're moving him inside. I don't know. But I think across that whole line, Bradley has some weapons there. You look at Solomon Thomas, looks like he's going to eat somebody. He's ripped. And then Jefferson and all these
Jefferson.
guys, these guys are going to rotate. I'm excited for this defensive line. I'm like, I always get excited. Everybody gets excited in the offseason,
Right.
but I felt like this might be one of the better defensive lines that we've had in a long time. And it starts with Yannick.
Yeah, I think for me it was there's no, I don't even, when that was said, I didn't even think about Cleveland. And to me, he's fighting he's not going to get offered any re-up on his rookie contract. He's just going to fizzle out and they'll trade him or off him, or he's not getting another contract unless by the graces of God, he explodes in this season
or something like that.
And I don't see that because I believe that even the inside talent, I believe, is upgraded as well. So if they're going to push him inside, he had that benefit of the doubt last year because Maurice Hurst and PJ Hall and all these other guys that didn't work out that were in there. Now I see him as a rotational role player. So I didn't think about that. What I do think about a lot is 4th overall pick and 4th round pick. Cleveland was a 4th overall pick. Crosby, 4th round pick, same draft. Unequivocally better player, better production, is an actual edge player, which Cleveland has clearly not been able to do. I don't care if he plays the run well. I can get a guy like that in the 4th round. Crosby has risen up. I've said it a million times. Last year, he was hurt. He waited till the offseason to get surgery. He was playing, I think, 96% of the snaps on defense. Like, they had no one. It was like, you have to line up on the edge. We don't have quarterbacks will be sitting there barbecuing in the pocket. Like, we need somebody. So he was in a bad situation, and off the field, he had some issues. So everything arose that way. I just think it's great. Just to segue a little bit, Von Miller, right? Had a camp in Las Vegas. He called Max Crosby franchise player. I really think Max is a special player, a special talent, and I think he's driven because he's a small school guy, because he came from nothing, because he didn't meet all these measurables and this draft impact. So those kind of guys, every now and then you see those type of people. A lot of people compare him to Jared Allen, who was a monster, right, with the Chiefs, and then to the Vikings, Hall of Fame type of career. And I don't know if he's there yet, but there's a lot of similarities. It's good. Solomon Thomas, I'm glad you said that, Ken. I remember a few months ago saying, like, that's one of the guys I'm like, if he kind of ends up being over his potential and healthy, that's a special piece. Like, he did, if you go back to his rookie year, there were some games, granted, the Niners had a lot of talent on that front seven.
Yeah.
They did. His role was not, you have to be the main disruptor. Regardless, there's some plays, if you look on a film, kind of jump out and you're like, oh, I can see why this guy was a third overall pick. Like there, he can kind of play the game and he can do it. And he's got good leadership skills and he's very smart guy. So there's a lot of things happening on the D line that are optimistic, but we have to see what really
you gotta do
happens
it
on the field.
No question about it. You can have all the optimism you want. They gotta do it on the field. No question about it. Gotta do it on Sundays and the first game against the Michael Vick type talent of Lamar Jackson will definitely be a big thing there. Do you guys remember who the last Raider, Von Miller, complimented and said he was going to be a really good player?
Colton Miller.
So I mean, maybe we should have Von in our draft room. I don't know.
My hot take is that before the trade deadline, Von Miller's a Raider. That's my hot take for this season.
Ooh.
Yeah, I
like it.
In the division, if the Raiders are like 10-4 or something like, I mean, or like I'm not sure.
Yeah, Broncos are gonna
trade
give
deadline.
up.
Trade deadline would be before that. The Broncos are obviously gonna need a quarterback, so they're gonna realize this shit's done with. We need to coop some draft picks so we can move up and build something. Von loves everything about Las Vegas. Is like he's literally like putting a microphone out. He's like a media member for the Raiders. Like the things he was saying, I was like, if I were a fan of the Broncos, it'd be like if Charles Woodson was like, ooh, so and so in the Broncos, I'd say this guy's gonna be one of the best corners. Yeah, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, are you crossing enemy lines and why? So I have a little suspicion there that if some certain things don't work out, that could happen. But hey, that's great.
You're gonna get everybody excited that listens to our show. Oh, you better calm down there, dude.
Hey, man, the way I look at it, it's year 4 of Gruden, and he's the only coach that went 3 years with not making the playoffs that didn't lose their job. So guess what? If you're desperate or not desperate, or you're right on the edge and you feel, let's just push the playoff window now. And we have some nice linebacker pieces, but if you're like, we need this guy to just shore everything up, that's a person you make the trade for, not Julio Jones, not all these other Aaron Rodgers. Like, let's stop people.
Yeah, exactly. So going on to what Gus Bradley had to say, the Raiders did sign Darren Lee. So I think that is a guy who, former Chief, former Jet.
Yeah.
I think it also says, hey, you know what?